I had a cup of coffee, then just did all the normal checks that we do, normal pre-checks and that, and then away you went. It's just like your average normal day, really.
Until we feel security, you will be our targets. And until you stop the bombing, gassing, imprisonment and torture of my people, we will not stop this fight. We are at war and I'm a soldier. Now you too will taste the reality of this situation.
On the 7th of July 2005, London was hit by a series of explosions. You probably think you know what happened that morning, but you don't. The story presented by the media of that tragic day is nothing more than a conspiracy. A conspiracy used by police, government and the media to cover up a far more sinister truth. The story we've been told is as follows. 4 British Muslim men exploded backpack bombs as part of the continuing jihad from Al-Qaeda cells. The suicide bombings were an attack on Britain, justified by the bombers for their involvement in the Iraq War. Supposedly, the 4 men had travelled down to Luton by car, all wearing backpacks loaded with homemade explosive. At 7:22 a.m, they boarded a train. Their destination, London. At 8:23 a.m, they arrived at King's Cross station. From here, they make the short walk to the Underground. Then at 8:30, they split up and headed for different trains. At 8:50 a.m, 3 explosions go off almost simultaneously. The 4th man, unable to board a train and unable to detonate his bomb, decides to leave the station, boarding a number 30 bus and finally detonating his bomb at 9:47 a.m. precisely in Tavistock Square.
Breaking news we're getting from the PA Newswire that there's been reports of an explosion outside Liverpool Street Station. That, of course, in the East End of London. It's the bordering area. You'll be maybe familiar with the Swiss building known as the Gherkin, which, of course...
The message to people in London is to stay where they are for the time being, not to try and move away from anywhere. We've got the scenes under control.
A landmark throughout London for the past sort of couple of years or so. That's very close to Liverpool Street Station.
What you've just heard is the official story. Extensive media coverage has engraved this version into all our minds to be true. But the official story is wrong. These terrible events did not happen in the way they have been described. This is not a question of interpretation. It is a fact.
There are obviously casualties both people that have died and people seriously injured. Our thoughts and prayers, of course, are with the victims and their families.
Hypothesis has been presented as truth, speculation has been offered with certainty, but there exist unexplained discrepancies, inexplicable contradictions, and unanswered questions in the official story. What the British public has been presented is in fact a complex and contradictory web of deceit.
It was not aimed at presidents or prime ministers. It was aimed at ordinary working-class Londoners, black and white, Muslim and Christian, Hindu and Jew, young and old. Indiscriminate attempt to slaughter, irrespective of any considerations for age, for caste, for religion, whatever. That isn't an ideology. It isn't even a perverted faith. It is just indiscriminate attempt at mass murder.
The first thing that is immediately clear in the official narrative released by the Home Office on May the 11th, 2006, is that the writer of the report has not actually seen the raw source material for much of the evidence he cites. Therefore, at best, this is second-hand information. At worst, nothing more than deceptive hearsay. There are a number of abnormalities and suspicious circumstances that surround this conspiracy. These make the story we are being told even more ludicrous. London is equipped with more CCTV cameras than any other city on Earth, and has been described as the surveillance capital of the world. At the beginning of the investigation, Andy Heyman, the Met's Assistant Commissioner and Terrorism Coordinator, said, "The bombers are all certain to have been caught on many cameras during their journey to and on the Underground. They were not masked, so we will end up with very good pictures that will identify them." However, somehow in a city with over 10,000 state-funded surveillance cameras, not one of them captured footage of the 4 bombers that morning. Only one CCTV camera captured them at Luton Station, and only one frame from this camera has been released. On the number 30 bus, not one out of the 4 security cameras were working that day. One senior Scotland Yard source said, "We don't know if the driver forgot to switch them on or if there was a technical problem, but there are no images." This bus heading for Hackney Wick was also the only bus to be diverted that day after the first 3 explosions had gone off. After many attempts, Eye on Britain managed to get a security manager for Stagecoach to come forward to comment on this abnormality.
As a matter of fact, CCTV cameras on the buses get maintained 2 times a week and can digitally store up to 2 weeks' footage. It's highly unlikely that all cameras would malfunction at the same time. I personally saw the footage from all cameras on bus 30, registration LX03BUF. They were working on that day and I was first to recover the footage. I personally saw no Asian man of that description. And when I realised the importance of the tapes, I tried to retrieve them immediately, but they had gone missing. And in my opinion, there was no one in my department.
Additionally, an email was received from Stagecoach by an independent J7 researcher that matches this information. The email suggests that the CCTV hard drive was indeed recovered by the police.